Welcome to the Deep Dive. We know you're keen on staying updated with machine learning, especially how it's actually being used out there in scientific discovery.
Right. And today we've got a really interesting paper that digs into that.
Yeah, we're looking at how AI models, specifically ones like ChatGPT and Gemini, can work together to get better at understanding images. In this case, in material science, which is pretty complex stuff.
Exactly. It's all about moving beyond just what one model can do on its own. This research explores achieving, more accurate, more reliable results by making them collaborate intelligently.
The promise here is pretty significant. We'll unpack the paper's methods, what they found, and where this might lead. The paper itself is called Collaborative AI Enhances Image Understanding in Material Science.
And the core idea, like you said, is taking this system they call CREST, that's the co-pilot for real-world experimental scientists, and boosting it using this multi-agent teamwork between ChatGPT and Gemini.
Aiming for better, faster experiments, essentially. The paper mentions a 3-4x jump in accuracy with collaboration compared to individual models. That's a big deal.
It really is, and it helps to think about the background here. Image analysis in science used to be, painstaking manual work.
Right, looking at micrograph after micrograph, slow, and you could miss things.
Exactly. AI promised to change that, automate it, make it more accurate, especially now we have these huge data sets, particularly in material science.
We're talking about AI potentially spotting patterns or phases in materials that maybe a human eye wouldn't even catch.
That's the potential, yeah. Identifying phases, analyzing microstructures. AI's already shown it works well for big picture stuff, like environmental monitoring from satellites or in medicine.
But applying it to this micro world, the really tiny details and materials, that's been less explored.
Relatively speaking, yes. So this paper tackles that head on. And the key is this idea of synergy. Different AI models have different strengths.
Like assembling a team. We've seen elsewhere that making AIs debate can actually improve factual accuracy, haven't we?
We have. And another crucial piece here is prompt engineering. How you ask the AI to do something makes a huge difference.
Getting the instructions just right, it's almost an art form.
It really is. Good prompting can unlock performance, sometimes more than tweaking the model itself. They mention its success in medical benchmarks, too.
So this paper uses ChatGPT, known for its language skills, and Gemini, which is strong with multimodal stuff like images.
Right, playing to their strengths.
And they set up two main tests within this CREST system. One qualitative identifying material phases, and one quantitative counting particles. And a big focus is on using prompt engineering to make that collaboration work best.
Okay, so let's get into experiment I, the qualitative one. Identifying the Martensite phase using scanning electron microscopy, or SEM, images.
SEM gives those really detailed surface pictures, crucial for materials people.
Exactly. The system converts voice commands to text. The goal they gave it was take a picture of the Martensite phase with HFW of 80 microns and state the label of the largest ROI when the summarize function is called.
So find the specific feature, zoom in correctly, and tell us which labeled area is the biggest one. Simple enough request.
You'd think. But when they tested ChatGPT and Gemini individually first, they struggled.
Whoa.
They often picked the wrong region of interest, the wrong ROI. It just shows even these powerful models aren't perfect out of the box for specialized scientific tasks.
Which brings us back to the prompting. They tried a specific Martensite prompt, but it didn't work well generally.
No, but then they added something simple. Label can be found in the final image generated.
And that helped, just telling it where to look for the label.
It made a difference, yeah. It seems like it focused the AI on connecting the visual output with the labeling task.
Okay, so individual attempts were tricky. Then came the teamwork. How did that work?
They set it up so ChatGPT reviews Gemini's first attempt. If it agrees, fine. If not, a debate starts.
A debate between AIs.
Yep, up to 5 rounds. With specific prompts guiding them, like explain why you disagree, refine your answer, there's a figure in the paper showing this feedback loop.
Almost like AI peer review.
What?
And they use real SEM images, showing examples where it worked and where it didn't.
Right. And to run lots of tests efficiently, they used a Python script. 10 rounds per run, tracking the final image name, the chosen ROI, how many steps or function calls it took.
They kept tweaking the prompts for this teamwork too, right? Table 1 shows that.
Yeah, they found adding things like explain disagreement reasons and collaborate within 5 rounds worked well. Interestingly, trying to explicitly track which debate round they were in actually made things worse.
Maybe micromanaging the AI isn't always best. So after all this, what were the final individual scores? Still low.
Pretty low, yeah. Around 19% accuracy for ChatGPT, 25% for Gemini, over about 30 test runs. They also noticed different behaviors, ChatGPT swinging wide on magnification adjustments, Gemini giving more detailed descriptions, though not always right.
But the collaboration,
Yeah.
that's where the magic happened. The 3-4x improvement.
Exactly. With the teamwork enabled, accuracy jumps significantly. They report 60% to 80% over 20 rounds. It's a clear win for the collaborative approach.
That's really compelling. So does this teamwork idea work for other tasks? That led to experiment 2, the quantitative one.
Right. They wanted to test generalizability. So task 2, counting particles in SEM images. They used standard software, ImageJ, to get the ground truth count.
Okay, a different kind of problem. How did the AI collaboration work here?
It was set up a bit differently. ChatGPT got an initial prompt to count particles of a certain size. Then Gemini's job was to look at ChatGPT's answer and give feedback, suggest improvements to ChatGPT's prompt.
So Gemini is a coach or critic this time, helping ChatGPT refine its own instructions.
Precisely. And the paper shows images, the original, the ImageJ count, and ChatGPT's count before and after Gemini's input.
And it did Gemini's coaching help?
It did. Table 2 shows ChatGPT's accuracy improved in 8 out of the 10 examples after getting Gemini's feedback.
So the collaborative benefit isn't just for subjective things like phase identification, but for objective counting too.
Exactly. It suggests this framework is quite versatile.
So wrapping up the findings, the paper really drives home that this collaborative approach, this debate mechanism, significantly boosts accuracy. It gets the models to refine their outputs.
Right. And it worked for both the qualitative phase analysis and the quantitative particle counting. The implications are potentially quite broad. Using multiple AI strengths together could improve all sorts of scientific tasks.
It helps to put this in historical context, too.
Okay.
We went from purely manual image analysis
To early computer vision, then the deep learning revolution.
and now we're seeing this trend of multi-agent systems combining different AIs. This research feels like a really concrete example of that applied to science.
Absolutely. It's part of this bigger move towards AI, not just analyzing data, but potentially assisting in discovery, maybe even running experiments autonomously down the line.
So the key takeaways for you listening are: single LLMs can struggle with complex, specialized image tasks.
But making them collaborate, especially with a structured debate, works much better.
Prompt engineering is absolutely vital to making that collaboration effective.
And this approach seems generalizable. It worked for different types of tasks, qualitative and quantitative.
The real-world impact, especially for material science, could be huge.
Yeah.
Faster characterization, maybe quicker discovery of new materials.
And potentially extending to biology, medicine, environmental science, anywhere. Image analysis is key. It could change how AI assists researchers.
It's more like AI as a collaborator, not just a tool.
Exactly. Which brings us nicely to our novel notions segment. Where could this research lead next? What are some nascent ideas?
Okay, first idea. What about a system that learns how to collaborate better over time?
Ooh, interesting. Like a dynamic self-optimizing framework.
Yeah. Imagine an AI that doesn't just use ChatGPT and Gemini, but figures out which models work best together for a specific type of image analysis task. Maybe it even learns the best debate rules or prompts on the fly.
So a meta-learning layer on top, watching the collaboration, seeing what works, and reconfiguring the AI team for the next job.
Exactly. It could even learn to invent new prompting techniques based on what improves results.
The extreme version of that? You could imagine an autonomous lab where the AIs not only do the experiments, but also design their own analysis pipelines, figuring out how best to collaborate to interpret the results.
That's definitely thinking ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, novel notion 2.
How about mixing different types of AI? We've talked about LLMs like ChatGPT and Gemini, but what about combining them with specialized computer vision models?
Models built specifically for things like, say, pixel-perfect segmentation or finding tiny objects.
Precisely. Imagine Gemini gives a high-level interpretation of the material image. A segmentation model precisely outlines the regions of interest. Then ChatGPT moderates a discussion about what it all means, connecting the high-level view with the pixel details.
That sounds powerful. You'd get the reasoning of the LLM plus the precision of the vision model.
Right. It could lead to a much more robust, holistic understanding. Maybe it could pull out really subtle features, especially in noisy or ambiguous images where one type of AI alone might fail.
Combining those different strengths seems key, especially for tough scientific data.
It's about creating a more capable collective intelligence, really.
These are fascinating directions. It really underscores that this paper while impressive, is likely just scratching the surface of collaborative AI in science.
Absolutely. It's a big step towards AI becoming a more active partner in research itself.
Well, if you want to dig into the details of this specific study, the link to the paper is in the description. Definitely worth a read.
And it leaves us with a big question to ponder. How is this intelligent collaboration between AIs going to reshape scientific research in the next few years?
Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll catch you next time on the Deep Dive.